Now class 6, today I want to continue my chapter, the smog. The smog in London, the chapter I was related to air pollution, the great smog, Christopher Klein, the writer, okay. Now the first part, that day I went through the chapter and explained this to you. Now today the next one, page 42 of your page. The smog escaped inside buildings as well, a greasy, grime-covered, exposed surfaces, and movie theaters closed as the yellow haze made it impossible for ticket holders to see the screen. So everywhere, in the movie, in the cinema hall also, the spectators could not have a view at the screen because the smoke covered all the places. Health effects of the Great Smog. The Great Smog of 1952 was much more than a nuisance. It was lethal, particularly for the elderly, young children, and those with respiratory problems. The children with the respiratory problems and the lethal gas scattered in the air, so it became a great hazard. Death from bronchitis and pneumonia increased more than sevenfold, 7 times. People suffering death due to bronchitis, pneumonia. The death rate in London's East End increased 9-fold. Initial reports estimated that about 4,000 died permanently in the immediate aftermath of the smog. As an immediate result of the smog, many people died. The detrimental effects lingered, however, and death rates remained well above normal into the summer of 1953. Many experts now estimate the Great Smog claimed at least 8,000 lives and perhaps as many as 12,000. The effects of the big smoke were not limited to people's birds lost in the fog, crashed into buildings. 11 prize hereforths brought to Earl's Court for the famed Smithfield show choked to death. So, everywhere in the London, the people were affected. In the big building, in the cinema hall, everywhere, and the lethal gas, poison gas scattered in the air. And as a result of that, people suffering from bronchitis, pneumonia. Now page 43. After 5 days of living in a sulphurous hell, the great smog finally lifted on December 9, when a brink wind from the west swept the toxic cloud away from London and out to North Sea. So after it stayed for 5 days. After that, the people suffering from sulphurous hell and great smog finally lifted on December 9. Aftermath of the big smoke, page 43. Initially, the British government was slow to act during the Great Smog. Heavy fog was, after all, a common occurrence in London, and there was, according to most reports, no immediate sense of urgency to this smog event. No immediate case of urgency. Initially, a British government was slow to act during the Great Smog. The government was very slow to react with this Great Smog. Heavy fog was, after all, a common occurrence in London, and there was, according to most reports, no immediate sense of urgency of this smog event. Following a government investigation, Parliament passed the Clean Air Act of 1956, which restricted the burning of coal in urban areas and authorized local councils to set up smoke-free zones. Homeowners received grants to convert from coal to alternative heating system. Now, following a government investigated the whole thing. Parliament passed the Clean Air Act of 1956, which restricted the burning of coal. Burning of coal was restricted. in urban areas and authorized local councils to set up smoke-free zones. Gave authorization to the local council to set up smoke-free zones. The transition away from coal as the city's primary heating source towards gas, oil and electricity took years, and during that time deadly fogs periodically occurred, such as one that killed about 750 people in 1962. None of them, however, approached the scale of 1952 Great Smog. Now, the transition away from coal as the city's primary heating source towards gas transition period from coal to gas, oil and electricity took several years, and during that time deadly fogs periodically, this fog is it is described here as very deadly, causing death to many people, killed about 750 people in 1962. In 1962 it occurred, that historical fog occurred in 1952. In 1962, 750 people died. None of them, however, approached the scale of 1952 Great Smog. But though in 1962, 750 people died, but we cannot compare it with 1952 Great Smog. Okay, this is the chapter today. Now, next day, I will deal with word meaning and question answer. Okay, the whole chapter I explain. First day few part, then today the remaining part. Okay, wish you a happy day, and next day next class. Okay, that is tomorrow eventually. Okay.